Okay, so our next change that we're looking at is positive volunteering every day. So Scott, can you tell us a little bit more about how this will change the existing roles that we have in Scouting?
Yeah, of course, Martin. Positive volunteering every day, it says, which sounds good. There's a few sort of changes that are coming here. First of all, it's a sort of move away from there being individuals with sort of large amounts of responsibility and workload, and coming to a more sort of teams-based approach where there'll be a team leader, or maybe one or two, a few leaders perhaps, and then team members, and the sort of task or the job is sort of distributed and shared out amongst that, rather than it being individuals with, yeah, as I say, huge amounts of sort of workload. So that's one sort of change, which I think we'll explain in more in a sec. And then another sort of big change is about the language we use, or the sort of titles we use in terms of how we describe our volunteers, or our roles or jobs, I suppose. And that the bit of change going on there. And I suppose that's very much not so much internally, but it's about our perception externally. So there is going to be a move from the use of the word or the term commissioner, and that's going to be replaced with the term lead volunteer. So, for example, instead of a group scout leader, there'll be a group lead volunteer, and instead of district commissioner, there'll be a district lead volunteer, and instead of yourself, Martin, regional commissioner, you'll be referred to or known as affectionately as the regional lead volunteer.
And does that mean people will stop asking me if I get paid for this job?
Well, it might achieve that for sure. And then I suppose also what we're looking to do is there's other moves to which is looking to move away from the term an executive committee, move to instead of an executive committee, there'll be a trustee board, and I suppose that's all about being in line with Oscar and to make sure that we're doing that in the right way. We follow the right due process for that, for sure.
Okay, now that all sounds good, but I suppose what does that look like for a section or a group?
Yeah, well, I've drawn a picture for you on the screen there. On the left there, you've got the section team, and that's made up of a team leader or a few leaders and lots of team members, and also within that, young leaders as well would fit into that sort of system. And those section teams would fit into the group structure on the right there, where the group is made up of several sections with those people on the left, and also a group leadership team, which formally might have been the GSL, but it might be several people who are taking on that responsibility, who help manage and support the group, and then alongside that, obviously, the trustee board, rather than the group executive committee. So that's what it looks like at group level. Do you want to have a go at trying to explain how it works at a district level, Martin?
I'll give it a shot, Scott. So again, we've got a diagram to represent what the new district structure will look like. What you'll see here is, instead of the previous structure where you'd see lots of different role titles being shown, it moves more towards this team-based approach. So you'll have the leadership team, which will be headed by the district lead volunteer, but they will also have, as part of that leadership team, the group scout leaders or group lead volunteers from each of the groups. We also have a team that focuses on the district provision, so that's our explorer sections and our network sections. And we also have three further teams: the volunteer development team, the support team, and the program team. So the volunteering development team, that's all around about the tasks that we perform at a district level to support our volunteers at district, group and section level. So that might include, for example, support for the new learning provision, support for the welcome conversation that we spoke about in our earlier video, as well as making sure that our volunteers are recognised through things like the awards system. The programme team, that's around about support for the provision of quality programme within Scouting. So that might be what we currently think of as assistant district commissioners for beavers or cubs or scouts. But again, it means that we can take those and roles and give people the opportunity to do tasks from that without having to take on the full role themselves. And then support team will be a number of other support functions. So that might be looking after district property, helping to support some of the administration, helping the leadership team, or helping out at group and district events. There's quite a wide range of things that team can cover. So hopefully that gives a bit of an idea of what takes place at the district level. And I suppose for those watching this, all of this might seem like quite a lot of change. So what benefits do we see coming from these changes that are being made?
We've got maybe too many roles which are maybe unmanageable and fixed, and too often it feels like work. And it's about kind of sort of trying to sort of share the workload among someone like yourself, for example, or a district commissioner. Share out the work, spread the work, so that because people often think, well, I couldn't do your job, or I couldn't do a district commissioner's job. It's about splitting it up into sort of tasks, and it being more achievable, I suppose, shared out amongst more people. And hopefully more people might feel that they want to step up and take on some of those tasks that is seen as perhaps an hour a week job to be able to fulfil that task or that function. And I suppose also the other benefits is that our roles externally seem quite hard to understand, and people coming in think, well, I couldn't do that, or and so it's about kind of breaking down that barrier. And yeah, people seeing that, yeah, this is something I could do, this is something that's achievable. Because at the moment what happens is we've got a small number of people who feel completely overwhelmed and overworked. And it's about changing that culture, I suppose, so that this is more achievable and more people feel that they could take part and contribute. I suppose also the sort of, it's about a changing culture in terms of the words we use. Obviously, perhaps the term commissioner, maybe externally people don't really know what that is, and the lead volunteers, it's a much more sort of simple language that appeals to sort of much broader people from the outside, if you like. Again, it's about moving away from using the TLAs, the 3-letter acronyms, and it being that it does what it says on the tin, I suppose, in terms of the language we use for our volunteers. So I suppose there are some of the benefits, and the big benefit is by doing that we get more volunteers who come in the door and feel supported and helped, and we don't get burnout, and we keep the volunteers that we've got, I suppose, as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I can definitely see how this is putting the opportunities in scouting into a language that is more recognisable for those that we're looking to bring in. So I think this will bring a lot of benefits to us as a region and scouting more widely. So thank you very much, Scott, for taking us through that. And again, we look forward to you joining us for our next video. Thank you very much.